David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney+. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney+ every night.
Breaking tonight, the severe weather threat across multiple states. President Trump on when a peace deal with Iran could be signed, and the massive security blitz as the World Cup meets NBA fever. First, the dangerous storms impacting more than 70 million Americans through tomorrow. Omaha pelted with flooding rains, high winds, and damaging hail. A church tent collapsing in Virginia. One person killed. The cold front now on the move heading east. Our weather team is timing it all out. President Trump's name removed from the Kennedy Center after a series of legal challenges, but the president not slowing down his moves to remake Washington, including tomorrow's unprecedented UFC fight night on the White House lawn. The U.S. and Iran appear ready to sign a deal to end the war. President Trump says it's scheduled to be signed tomorrow. The Iranians with a different timeline. What the agreement could mean for oil shipments in the Strait of Hormuz and for Iran's nuclear ambitions. Also tonight, the daring rescue. A seaplane sinking in the waters off New York City. 2 people pulled to safety with injuries. What we're learning about the incident. New questions tonight after the FBI reportedly seized computers and material from a voting rights group. What they were looking for. One of the world's leading AI companies halts access to 2 of its most advanced models. The company acting after the Trump administration warned of national security concerns. The massive security lockdown in New York. Major streets closed as the city deals with an influx of World Cup and NBA fans. Plus, our Game 5 preview. ESPN insiders on what to expect as the Knicks shoot for the NBA title in San Antonio. And America Strong tonight, the passionate Little League umpire you first met right here on our broadcast, now getting his big break on the national stage.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday. I'm Whit Johnson. We begin tonight with the dangerous storms on the move. More than 70 million Americans at risk through tomorrow. Overnight, an outdoor church event in Virginia ending in tragedy after a large tent collapsed during a storm. 1 person killed and more than 20 others injured. Heavy wind and rain slamming Hackensack, New Jersey, downing trees and power lines, leaving behind a trail of damage. Earlier today, rain and gusty winds taking aim at Omaha, Nebraska. Some flooding seen in the area. That city also getting battered by hail. And the new threats along the I-95 corridor. ABC's meteorologist Leslie Lopez leading us off tonight.
Tonight, 20 million Americans under threat across the middle of the country. Omaha, Nebraska pelted with hail, facing 60-mile-per-hour winds and torrential rain ahead of the College Baseball World Series this afternoon. The East Coast just emerging from an intense storm. New York seeing this sudden downpour yesterday.
Oh my God, I can't believe it.
And in Hackensack, New Jersey, down power lines and toppled trees, wreaking havoc on this neighborhood. That same storm system tearing through parts of Virginia in the small town of Monetta. Strong winds picking up a tent during a church event and collapsing it, killing 1 man and injuring more than 20 others.
The pastor here at the church was in the process of evacuating the event and the tent when it collapsed. Yeah, they just didn't have enough time.
So let's get right to meteorologist Leslie Lopez. And Leslie, even more severe storms in the Northeast tomorrow.
That's right. More concerns remain in the same areas, too. So I want to show you what's happening here. We're talking about severe thunderstorm watches. This is the newest development over into areas of Lincoln, Nebraska. This goes all the way through 11 o'clock tonight. But we also are watching out for this bullseye area. This is a 3 out of 5 level threat for areas closer to Kansas City, Springfield, Wichita. And then we're seeing this timing moving out towards the northeast yet again as we're heading into tomorrow. So there will be some damaging winds, lightning, hail as a possibility. And then the West Coast, we're dealing with heat. We have heat advisories, excessive heat warnings, and temperatures that could break daily records. That's over into areas of Washington. So we're going to watch and wait and see, but almost the entire nation dealing with some heat. So
yeah, so a mix of everything. Yes. We'll stay on top of it. Thank you, Leslie. All right, to Washington now, and President Trump's name stripped from the Kennedy Center after a series of legal challenges. Crews working through the night to remove the lettering from the famed Performing Arts Center. And it comes as the White House is preparing to host an unprecedented fight night. ABC senior White House correspondent Selina Wang is at the Kennedy Center tonight.
Tonight, President Trump's name stripped off the Kennedy Center. Workers behind this giant scaffolding yanking the letters off the building, complying with the federal judge's ruling that the renaming was unlawful. The Justice Department filing a last-minute appeal to stop it, but the courts saying no. Today, the center's executive director filed a sworn declaration confirming Trump's name is gone from all physical signage, the website, even employee email signatures. The Kennedy Center is just one part of Trump's attempts to refashion Washington. Final preparations for Sunday night's big UFC fight on President Trump's 80th birthday are now underway. Testing the lights ahead of 4,000 spectators expected inside the arena on the White House South Lawn, with 120,000 more watching from the nearby ellipse. The UFC insists they're footing the bill, already topping $60 million, but it's also a marketing windfall, corporate sponsorships lining the cage. Trump has a long friendship with UFC chief Dana White and owns stock in UFC's parent company. And taxpayer dollars are being spent on Super Bowl-level security run by the Secret Service. A new threat assessment reviewed by ABC News warns this fight and a series of America 250 events this summer represent attractive symbolic targets for violent extremist actors. But they acknowledge there are currently no credible threats. And you can see that white tarp is still up behind me on the Kennedy Center, covering up where Donald Trump's name once was. But President Trump is still trying to make over other parts of Washington. He's torn down the East Wing to build a massive White House ballroom, and he's renovated the reflecting pool. Whit.
Okay, Selina Wang, our thanks to you tonight. To the war with Iran, President Trump is now saying that the U.S. and Tehran could sign a preliminary agreement as soon as tomorrow. Let's bring in ABC's Lama Hasan. And Lama, what are you learning tonight about the timetable for this deal?
With President Trump announcing on a social media platform the deal with Iran is scheduled to get signed tomorrow, and immediately after, the Strait of Hormuz will be open. Iranian officials have not responded yet, but there's no question there is now momentum. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif says the finalization of a preliminary deal is expected within the next 24 hours. Iran earlier suggesting that it could happen in the coming days, and according to an administration source, details of the draft agreement include reopening of the Strait of Hormuz as well as lifting the U.S. blockade. President Trump insisting Iran promises not to build or obtain a nuclear weapon. This promise is not new. It was in the deal negotiated under President Obama more than a decade ago, a deal President Trump ended and repeatedly criticizes. Whit.
Some potentially critical days ahead. Lama, thanks so much. And tune into This Week tomorrow morning. Martha Raddatz interviews U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Mike Waltz, as the U.S. and Iran appear close to a deal. Now to a sinking seaplane in New York City's East River. The plane taking on water after it was hit by a large wave and damage. 2 people were rescued and treated for minor injuries. The new details coming in tonight. Here's ABC's Faith Abube.
Tonight, these dramatic images, a seaplane submerged in New York's East River. The FDNY responding to an emergency involving this plane near the Throgs Neck Bridge off Queens just before 9:30 this morning. Authorities say 2 people were on board that plane, a 67-year-old pilot and his 72-year-old passenger. The plane starting its engine when it was struck by a large wave, damaging its wing. The plane then starting to sink into the East River. New York City's fire department launching what it calls a major technical response. The 2 people on board were rescued by an FDNY Marine boat. They suffered minor injuries.
Marine 4 is going to escort Cito, who's towing the plane back to the dock where the plane came from.
The boat immediately towed from the waters as a full investigation continues. And with the 2 people aboard that plane have since been released, according to the FDNY, they declined medical treatment. Whit.
All right, Faith, thanks so much. New details tonight about that horrific mass shooting in Midland, Texas. 1 person was killed when a gunman opened fire. The community coming together for a prayer vigil. Let's bring in ABC's Alex Stone with the latest. Alex?
With tonight, the city of Midland confirming the victim killed was 62-year-old Edward Scott, a waste department employee, a father and a husband, and a popular softball umpire. Police say 45-year-old Victor Mata Villarreal opened fire on bystanders and police. There was a gun battle. Police say Villarreal barricaded himself in a building before he was found dead 4 hours later by a police robot. He had been on the run since he allegedly fired at police and fled during a traffic stop. That happened 2 days earlier. A large manhunt had been underway. Tonight, at least half of the 10 injured are recovering at home, but the city saying one of its own will not be coming home. Whit.
All right, Alex, thank you. New questions tonight after FBI agents raided the offices of a prominent Ohio voting rights group, seizing computers and other materials. Federal prosecutors are not saying what prompted the action, but local authorities are slamming it as an intimidation tactic during an election year. Here's ABC's Olivia Rubin.
Tonight, the DOJ reportedly sending federal agents to Ohio, raiding the offices of a local voting rights group, seizing devices, documents, and computers. Ohio Organizing Collaborative, which registers voters in the swing state, reportedly saying more than 100 federal agents descended with warrants on Thursday. A board member for the group telling the New York Times the move is part of the administration's, quote, escalating attempt to intimidate civil rights leaders. Ohio Congresswoman Shontel Brown, a Democrat, saying she's concerned the administration is trying to intimidate and halt voter registration and organizing efforts, all ahead of the critical November elections. It's not clear what's under investigation. In a statement to ABC, DOJ confirmed the search, saying the warrant was authorized by a judge. It comes as President Trump repeatedly pushes the government to probe unproven allegations of widespread election fraud since losing the 2020 election. Voting fraud is rare, according to the Brennan Center, and there's been no evidence it altered the election results. Earlier this year, the FBI raiding an election office in Fulton County, Georgia, a state Trump lost, seizing hundreds of boxes of those 2020 ballots.
And with that, Ohio group is active across the state, registering more than 100,000 voters in 2024, also vocally opposing Republicans' redistricting efforts. With
Olivia Rubin for us tonight. Now to Anthropic, one of the world's leading AI companies, suspending its most advanced models. This after the Trump administration declared them a security risk and ordered the company to ban foreign access. Here's ABC's Christian Cordero.
Tonight, one of the world's leading artificial intelligence companies is suspending two of its most advanced models. Anthropic says it received the directive from the Trump administration, citing unspecific national security concerns facing their recently launched Mythos 5 and Fable 5, each with state-of-the-art AI capabilities. The administration asked Anthropic to block foreign nationals in and out of the U.S. To comply with the directive, Anthropic disabled both models for all users, but stands by the safeguards it has in place. The company and others in the tech industry criticizing the government's decision. Earlier this year, Anthropic unveiled its new model, Claude Mythos. During testing, Claude Mythos was able to exploit thousands of bugs and software defects in every major operating system and browser online. It was never widely released to the public. CEO Dario Amodei sitting down with our Lindsay Davis just days ago.
How much of an onus falls on you, falls on Anthropic?
I think we're building it. The onus is on us, right? I think the government has a role in setting standards, in helping us identify and track down threats. So the government has to do its part as well, and I think the government is starting to do its part. But the onus primarily falls on us.
This is considered one of the most sweeping directives targeting an American AI company. It follows an executive order the president signed earlier this month that asks tech companies to give the administration access to their AI models before releasing them to the public. Whit.
Christian, thank you. Turning to the massive security crackdown in New York as the city deals with an influx of World Cup and NBA fans. Law enforcement trying to avoid those ugly scenes after the New York Knicks' historic win on Wednesday night. Let's bring in ABC's Rena Roy. Rena?
This could be a challenging weekend for the nation's largest police department. New York Knicks fans are gathering for a Game 5 watch party in the NBA Finals outside of Madison Square Garden here. And inside the Garden, there's a concert going on tonight. The NYPD says that there will be tens of thousands of people in this area, on top of the foot traffic that we usually see here in the heart of Manhattan. Not to mention, just steps away, of course, is Penn Station. Many soccer fans have been traveling to New Jersey to watch Brazil and Morocco face off in the first game of the World Cup at MetLife Stadium. You can see thousands of World Cup fans taking over Times Square today, and this is just the beginning of the tournament. The NYPD establishing a frozen zone with major street closures in this busy area, security checkpoints, and a strict no bag policy. Safe to say, local law enforcement officials have their hands very full and they are taking no chances. Whit.
They sure do. All right, Rena, thank you. And that big game between the Knicks and Spurs tipping off tonight in San Antonio. The Knicks just one win away from their first NBA championship in 53 years. Let's bring in ESPN's Mike Breen, Richard Jefferson, and Tim Legler about what we can expect. Hey, guys.
Whit, we have high stakes tonight in San Antonio. For the Knicks, certainly a chance to win a championship. And for the Spurs, they want to make sure they keep their season alive. Legs, let's start with San Antonio. They're in a 3-1 hole. But what's the key for them at least to win one game?
Well, I think, Mike, it starts with understanding that you've played really well for large portions of this series. Remember that. That should give you confidence going into the game. And then if you get into a situation in the fourth quarter, you just have to manage those moments better, particularly offensively with the turnovers, shot selection, making sure you execute. They've been right there in every game. We all know this series could easily be 3-1 the other direction. They've just got to be better in the pressure moments.
Richard, the Knicks have a cushion right now, but they want to end it tonight. What's the key for them?
Well, one, you got to think that you don't have a cushion. You have to play this game like this is the final game. But the closeout game is always the hardest. For me, they have to start strong. They haven't started strong. They don't want to put themselves in another tough bind and depend on the basketball gods. They have to be strong from start to finish.
And Whit, for many of these players on both teams, it's the biggest games of their lives. 8:42 tip-off from San Antonio.
It sure is. We'll be watching. Thank you, guys. You can watch Game 5 of the NBA Finals right here on ABC. There's much more ahead on World News Tonight this Saturday. New details on one of the stars of Team USA, why Christian Pulisic left the team's first World Cup game at halftime, and the investigation into a deadly crash involving an experimental plane. Next tonight, chilling new video captured just before a deadly plane crash in Oregon. Watch as a small plane flies low over a roadway before going down. The experimental aircraft crashed near the Twin Oaks Airport west of Portland. The pilot, the only person on board, was killed. The cause is under investigation. In Australia, a swimmer is reportedly in critical condition after being bitten by a shark, the fourth attack in recent weeks. Police say the woman was swimming with friends off Sydney when she was attacked by an 11-foot shark. She suffered serious leg and arm injuries. When we come back, a centuries-old tradition. It's a celebration fit for a king. To the index now, and some concern for U.S. soccer fans. Despite the team's dominating 4-1 win over Paraguay, star forward Christian Pulisic was subbed out at halftime after setting up 2 goals for Team USA. Pulisic later told reporters that he was kicked in the calf and hopes it's nothing serious. No word yet on whether Pulisic will play when the U.S. faces Australia next Friday. Overseas now, pomp and pageantry on display for King Charles' annual birthday celebration. Thousands joined the king and queen for the parade known as Trooping the Color. Also attending were Prince William and Princess Kate, wearing a powder blue dress with matching hat, along with their 3 children. Still ahead, an update on the passionate teen umpire we featured on this broadcast. Did he find the perfect job? Finally tonight, America Strong. Our favorite umpire gets the call of a lifetime.
We first introduced you to Sawyer Sparks, the 18-year-old Little League umpire, last month.
Look at him. I love this guy.
His expressive, high-octane game calling going viral.
He's like chasing kids at first, sliding, calling, making calls. Dude, he's amazing.
Videos posted on social media getting millions of views.
The Little League umpire making
our story catching the attention of the Savannah Bananas.
High fly ball.
An exhibition baseball team that plays in stadiums nationwide. After we put them in touch with Sawyer, he was called up to ump a banana ball game.
Please welcome from Bakersfield, California, 18-year-old Sawyer Sparks.
Sawyer making his big league debut at the Bananas home stadium in Savannah, Georgia. Recording his run out to home plate with meta glasses.
I start booking it to home, and I ran as fast as I could to get behind the catcher.
Sawyer's passion inspiring fans around the world and leading to an experience he'll never forget.
2 strikes, that is a 3rd. Sawyer Sparks with a little emphatic strikeout call and a body slam.
so cool. Good for him. I'm Whit Johnson in New York. Have a great night.
David Muir, the most trusted, most watched newscast in America. And now, World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the 4th year in a row.